Russ Percy, and from the Second School District representative.
Marcel Soriano from the Anahuac School District.
Don Porter, assistant principal at the Anahuac School District.
Don Porter from Shake.
Susan Donovan, South Karen Johnson.
Karen Johnson, Southwood.
Oh.
I'm all messed up now.
Assistant. Admin assistant. Sharon Meltz, parent from Alta Loma School District.
Rose Heredia, parent at Upland Unified School District.
Mo Mendoza, have a child in the chief, and I'm also an oldest school board trustee.
Oh, Christy Burchett, parent.
I'm Peter Allen, also a parent.
Introduction. Just say your name.
Oh, somewhere. Just
So just say your name.
Just
I'm
say-
switching a mom.
Come on.
Okay, this one we have to.
Well, welcome everybody. Review of the agenda.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
So good. Approval of minutes. Minutes of meeting on August 14th.
It was four over.
Approve the minutes.
I have a correction.
Okay.
And it is under discussion items F, number 2, under subset number 1. Just the spelling of my last name. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
So what? Which one?
Where it says Public Information and Membership Committee. It's spelled correctly, it's just right below, but.
Oh, okay. And I apologize.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You should have gotten the second one correct.
I know.
Yes, you did. Okay. Is there another correction?
All right. Yeah, I'm in
Another
this
one,
now.
but I can't remember.
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So any other, I move to approve the minutes. Any second?
I said.
So I should get motion fee.
All in favor of approving the minutes with the change, with Rose's name change?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
There it is.
Review member attendance and voting membership list. Sharon?
Yes, present we have
Searching.
Sharon, Russ, Edith, Kumkum, Marcel, Donna. We are missing Nicole, housekeeping, and sent to her she is not able to make excused absence. Excused absence. Martina has an excused absence. Mo is present. Rose is present. Marla, anybody?
Searching.
We did our quorum.
And then we included this just so people could see the other second item. If they are appointed for an even or an odd year, just so we can keep track of
Searching.
things.
Tracks.
And if the board has approved it like that. And we
Yeah,
can
it's
see
the
that.
blue screen.
Appreciate that.
I have a question. I was looking at that and I noticed that Martina's date or year is not on this, right? Because you're talking about the membership vote. Is that what you're talking about? So it has our term, right? That's our term. Like when we come on board.
So we need
When
to
we come on
that
board.
information.
Yeah, I just need that one.
It was last year in 11.
Yeah.
Oh, she came in the 11th.
So it should show 11.
Do we have to have the date? I'm just thinking because also Marcellus does have the month.
Mhm.
last time we had the chart up like this, and what I did was type what was on the chart here, and then I thought we could use this as a working document to go back and see kind of an update of where we are. So for the first one, we had said that the change of some wording on the bylaws would be placed on the September agenda, and so that is on our agenda for this evening. And then we were going to update the CAC committee on compliance complaints. We haven't received any more reports from the state, but as we get the last few that are outstanding, we will do that. Early intervention life after high school, the committee was to meet and plan, and so Martina isn't here to give us updates. I don't think the parent education committee's had a chance to meet, and so that's where we are on that. Meeting, Peter, you and I met with Amy about the XPOT.
You did do that?
Okay, so you can check that off that we did that.
And you read the book?
You read
Oh.
the speed of trust?
That's correct.
Did you like it?
Overall, yeah, I mean, I got certain theological problems with it and all, but overall, there's a lot of very good advice in the thing. And if the SPED heads and the self-administrator and especially the due process manager actually start implementing that advice, we won't even recognize this advice.
So it takes all of us, though, doesn't it? And then did you have a chance to look
Well,
at
if it takes all of us, nothing's going to happen. It has to start with somebody doing something without waiting for somebody else and making excuses for somebody else is being bad.
Peter, we talked about another one too, the third alternative. So I have that to read, and maybe you can read it too. So we
Sure.
can see if we like that one too.
That's
Two
cool.
books that we talked about. Peter and I had quite a great discussion about trust, and with Amy. And I shared with him a book that's very popular out there by Stephen Covey's Speed of Trust. And I've read that in a lot of places I've worked, really embraced all of those concepts. But last year I went to some training, and another book that was highly recommended by somebody who I really respect and said it was about the best book that had come out in a long time is also by Covey, The Third Alternative. And it talks about, we can sit there and talk about your way and my way, or we can develop what's going to be our way that's going to have a whole lot more power than anything we could have done alone. So we might want to take a look at that.
Yeah,
And I'd
good.
recommend it to you. All right, thank you. Electronic survey. That's something that the Public Information Committee is going to be tasked with, and I think that's something that we still need the results from last year, and so that'll be what everybody will be talking about and compiling, and probably some charts to show us the data. And then the hopes would be by next spring we would reconfigure that, get it out, and get results across the WESELPA, because I know, Mo, you guys put tons of effort.
Yeah, I'm confused. All the school districts got the format, the spreadsheet from Karen. They were supposed to enter in the surveys. Did we not get them back from all the school districts?
There's two things.
I did not finish
Some
mine.
districts opted not to participate, and some have yet to compile all the data. Last month, though, we went around the circle, and people did give an update that, it was my first meeting, and I was very pleased that some of you said we got 500, 1,000, or whatever, and that overall the parents were quite pleased, but we need the data to be compiled, and that will be the work of that committee.
But the deadline for that was already passed. And
And one thing that happened too is Martina got hers that week, so she didn't even have a chance either to put in her input too, so, a lot of.
Right, and we
So
have
tonight-
about over 1,000, and I actually, that's why I think I asked for Karen's help, because somebody, they have some volunteers to do it, because I started it, but that is why I think additionally getting Survey Monkey next year, and we learned from the process, we certainly learned from the process, so that's what I have.
plus, we also learned that we should take comments from the public because they told us to use that. And I don't understand why we didn't use the the survey monkey. It would make it a lot easier.
Well, that was my learning last time.
They asked why.
But Martina, the other, Mo, I get you guys. mixed
I
up.
know, everybody does.
Martina was
They all look the same.
to share with Martina was to share with everybody tonight publicly
Mhm.
who she named as the chairs of the committee, so then that committee would follow up to compile it.
Oh, okay.
And then also, I think we had discussed last year that not everyone had access to a computer, and therefore, I think that was why we chose to, if I recall correctly, why we chose the paper form. But now, we now know what that all entails. I know Upland was the one who received over
I know in our ministry,
500.
we have a lot of Spanish-speaking parents who, might not have access to it, or, so it was also,
Okay. So the
concern.
committee can look at the best approach for next year.
Yeah, use this data and then.
We can do both.
So that's where we are with that. IEP and parents' rights training. WESELPA is all geared up, has a flyer ready to go for the October meeting to offer that training. Christy, you had asked for a bullying training, and I assumed that what you meant was anti-bullying
Oh, of course.
training. So that's why I changed it over on who, when, that we would research. And we've actually had an offer from some SELPA staff at our November meeting to come in the last 45 minutes. If we can conduct our business rapidly, then they are willing to come in and actually do, for a starter, a 45-minute training. So I think that would be a wonderful start in that regard. And art and writing change of location. I'm getting feedback from various groups, especially the PAC, that this is a very successful event that we've had a tradition for 12 years. And we do have a committee that's going to be looking at a proposal, and so I'm not going to say that we have moved forward and decided which way it's going to go. The committee needs to take a look at what they proposed for this year. She named you the chair of that committee.
And I'm kind of a little bit confused. Why are we moving it? Because we're going to make sure that everybody's invited, so we need a bigger location?
Christy, you want to share with her what you shared with us last time?
Sure. Yeah, I had proposed that it gets moved because it's been giving, press to one particular school district who happens to be an employee of SELPA and who happens to be on the board of that particular school district. And I think it should be at least at another school district location, possibly the Ontario Convention Center might be an idea, somewhere else. It's been there for a long time, so that's what I brought forward as an idea.
You have a committee that has a task to look at what you proposed for this year, bring it forward. I'll take it to PAC, back to superintendents, and it's not till May, so we have some time.
Okay.
Our concern, hearing about it initially, was we have a place for parents know to go. We have workability students across the SELPA that have put great effort, and actually it's been an opportunity to provide them work experience. Is the committee willing to take on all?
I honestly don't know another school district that has a facility. Wilsey might be able to, but I don't know.
And nobody's
I
saying we
can't
have
commit.
to change it either. I
I
think
actually think it's smaller.
when we, from what I understand in the past, there was a time that SELPA had it here.
Yeah.
Changed it up, and parents showed up here because they were so
Exactly,
accustomed.
the first year that we
So,
moved, parents showed up here.
I would say we have a process, we have a committee. The committee needs to look at all the impact of a change, come up with their best recommendation, bring it to
And
the.
if anybody can email me if you guys do have any kind of room that you guys know of at the school district that's bigger than what we already have in it.
And I think you need to look at
And the
what are the
location.
benefits, what are the pros and cons of moving it before you go one way or the other.
Because where it's at now, they have access to a kitchen, right?
They have a wheelchair lift for hand stage.
Parking,
Yeah.
parking is plenty for there. Parking is well.
So you and your committee to take a look. Pros
Okay.
and cons, I would really look at the pros and cons before you move any further with this.
And we're certainly willing to host it again if the committee would like to have it hosted in the central school district, but that's up to the committee.
Okay.
It's an incredible amount of work, I will tell you, I
Yeah.
know that. But a wonderful person.
I have a comment. Have we already sent out the CAC brochure? That, because that indicated food mustard, right? So are we looking at the change, if the committee decides to move forward with the change, that would be for the following
I
year?
think it just has the date, but it was a flyer that we didn't agree, we didn't even know about CAC.
So I'm saying, take it to the
Right.
committee, come back to
It
us.
does
tell us
have the
what you
date,
come
we
up
have
with.
to keep the same date.
Okay.
And on your chair of that, you weren't here last time, but I actually got on a committee, and then
Okay.
if anybody else needs help, call me, so if you do
Okay.
need help, I'll help
All
you.
right.
I'm also in that community.
Okay.
Art already.
Nicole and I are.
Oh, okay.
Good, you have lots of helpers. Okay.
Start by administrator's report.
Okay. Did I miss a six, over onto a six?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have one
Just
question,
jump right
Miss, oh God, forget your name, the one that does do the art and writing contest, Miss, White's. She is still gonna be part of it though, right?
Everything is up to your committee.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm saying you guys go to the drawing board, you
Okay.
decide what you're doing,
Okay.
and come to us, and then
Okay.
we'll give you our feedback. I mean, everything. Okay.
I apologize, so we're reviewing meeting notes.
For those of you that weren't here last month, I had brought forward some meeting norms that are going to be shared across all of our levels of governance. So I shared them with PAC. Next week we have PAC and PAC. I'll be sharing them with PAC. And then on the 28th, the Superintendent's Council. So just wanted to review them again. And so here we go. Number one, we'll go over the short version, and the descriptions are behind if you want to refer to them. Treat everyone with respect. Prepare adequately for the meeting and participate fully. Do not interrupt each other. Sometimes we are passionate and we have a tendency to want to engage in each other's thoughts, ideas, and opinions. Because sometimes we need to know where people are coming from and then respond. Stay focused on the topic under discussion. Start and end meetings on time and arrive at meetings punctually. Think outside the box. And like I said last time, I think the most important one is the last one. That sometimes the vote may not go your way, but when we all leave the room, we need to act as a unit and support whatever the decision was made. So that's why it says act collectively after the meeting. And then if you turn over to the third page, what do we do when the norms are broken or violated? We review them frequently. It's the responsibility of all to note the violations of the norms. The facilitator may stop and correct, do a process check at the end of the discussion, and have one discussion about the meeting. Okay. Now you know.
Parking lot, I think that's just Sharon.
You have it up here, and Sharon's going to read. Okay. Well, I've been here 2 months now, and it's been very busy, and school has started, and there's just been a lot of activity. I'm pleased to report that we have a fiscal analyst as of yesterday. Jeanette Sanchez has joined us. Jeanette is highly respected across the county. She actually did some of the accounting with the WESELPA budgets many years ago, I guess. So we're very fortunate to have somebody that understands the funding. She serves as the chair-elect for a group of colleagues, and she is here to support us in any way she can. So after a summer, we have no fiscal analyst subject to help, and we have that position filled. We also had one program specialist position that was vacated, and we have interviewed, and they're in the process of offering the position to that person, so I will share who that is when I have the go-ahead on that, and the person that I discussed. Last month I gave you an organizational chart that showed you who is kind of under who in our structure. The next piece that we don't have quite finalized, but we're almost there. For each department, it outlines the basic responsibilities, and I think that'll be real helpful too, because it's hard to describe what a SELPA is sometimes what you do. And there's 125 very different SELPAs throughout the state. So now would be a helpful piece Peter, I'm gonna share the Xbox schematic. This is what I shared with Peter when we all met up in some this way and this way. And we can go over this if you would like. We have enough for the audience. You can pass it on.
Yes.
So, just wanted to share with you, the Selpas in the Inland Empire, we consistently have what we call an X5. And, so here is the purpose of it. It's like an insurance policy for 30% of the cost.
All right, well, since you invited me to chip in on that, the original deal was that I had pointed out the last time that the SELPA is supposed to provide some oversight to the district, and if they're being inappropriate in litigating, the SELPA is supposed to provide some adult supervision. That's on page 24 of the local plan. So we got that agreed on, right at the beginning of our little meeting. And so the same way that the SELPA is supposed to give some oversight to MPS places, it's supposed to provide oversight to the districts. And so when the districts want to be ridiculous about things, we expect the SELPA to tell them that they're being ridiculous and provide some adult supervision. And that has not been happening. And my point is that this trust thing, one of the things required for this trust thing is the SELPA should show some evidence of actually discouraging district contentiousness. And the superintendent's council is who they appeal to if they think that the SELPA should be paying up. And my point was that the superintendents ought to be able to trust the SELPA to tell the more contentious districts to knock it off. There is really no reason why it is in a really contentious district like my own should be subsidized by others. Districts ought to be rewarded for being collaborative and for being reasonable, and for spinning and lying and provoking trouble, they ought to bear that themselves.
May I make a comment about your chart? I just had a comment about the IEE portion. What struck me about this particular part is that the funding from the SELPA only kicks in as part of the settlement agreement, which thereby gives an incentive for a school district to say no if they're asked to fund an IEE, because they know the only way they're going to get money from the XPOT for an IEE is if it goes with where the parent files due process and gets it as a result of the settlement agreement. So I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention.
Or if the district files.
Right.
I do have a question, because it's not really making sense. The IEEs, SELPA gets involved in the contract. So
Because
why do they pay for, this is something new that I've never seen
So
written
the
before.
funding stays in the SELPA.
But
That's
it
what
says-
comprises the pot and the XPOT.
Uh-huh.
And so in order to spend that money out, as the districts have requested, then we have to do a contract. We have to have the invoices come into us. So we do that at the district's bidding.
Okay, but when did it start that SELPA only pays for an IEE if it's part of a settlement agreement?
But what you don't see in this is there are many, many, many IEEs that the districts are paying.
That's what I think, yeah.
So that isn't apparent here, because districts on their own are meeting with parents at IEP meetings and going through the process of determining if they're going to fund an IE, if they've had the chance to assess the student and all of that. So this only touches on what we do out of the XPOT. But separate from that, districts many, many times
But
pay for
in the
IEs.
past, you guys have paid for IEs, and it has nothing to do with the settlement agreement. So I'm kind of confused as to why it's written this way. What all of a sudden changed? I've never seen any policy
Put on the
change.
parking lot, because I want to
Yeah,
make
if you
sure
could
that I
get
go
back
back
to
and
me,
give
where
the
did the
correct
policy
information to
change?
bring to you.
Yeah.
Let's just put on there that we're going to look at XPOT,
The IE
but
funding.
especially the IEs here.
Yeah, the
So we just
XPOT
underline IE, and that'll be my.
IE funding.
Okay. Now, this next one
Thanks.
is in draft version, but I'm going to share it with you because I'm going to take it to various committees next week, and that's the SELPA priorities for this year. Rather lengthy list, but I chose to share with you the different departments within the SELPA that I have oversight of, basically what their goals are, and this isn't complete because there I don't need to go over this in detail. You can all read and just be aware that this is what I'm proposing. But you can see, I would reference page 2, that if you go to the portion about the CAC, there's some missing information here too. And that is, we have the chairperson's goals, which will be shared later. And then the second piece is I asked each committee, subcommittee, to come up with a goal of a product or something they want to accomplish this year. But because they have to post their agendas, and have to find out who's the chair and all of that, that's going to be coming once they have the opportunity. So just wanted to show that. Yes, one more thing. Okay, Karen and I are going to do this. We're going to show you what we've done with this portfolio, and I'd really like your feedback because it's how I did business in San Diego, and it worked out really well. But also, do you all have Adobe Reader on your computers at home? So you can open a PDF file. Okay, and that's all you need. We have 2 L's.
I know.
She got Jeff.
Oh.
Does that or I have old
Committee
eyes.
meetings right now.
Yeah, you're trying to open it up.
But if you go
There. That's what I was
we have to scroll way down on this phone and get it.
I need a mouse.
I think it was on the, oh, there it is.
Yeah, it's down here.
So see, it says portfolio. So when you open it up, oh my goodness, it looks different there.
What, they didn't do it the way it shows up different?
Every computer, it looks different, but what you've got is the agenda there. And so if you go, that's the
You can
agenda.
make it bigger.
But then,
You want to make it bigger?
Where's the other, oh, I should have practiced this.
I think it's,
Where are the percentages?
That's just,
that's the agenda. I think you have to go up to the top left, the second icon maybe.
that shows a listing.
There you go. That's what we were looking at this morning. So then you can click on each one in succession. So like Mo, you have your laptop. If you were to bring your laptop in at the meeting, if you actually wanted to open them out of the portfolio, but sometimes you have to rotate them.
Picked the wrong one.
Anyway,
I'll go back. Let's go back.
if they're in color, if it's a flyer, whatever, you have it. So if you wanted that separate document, or like next time, we may have some budget spreadsheets to show you. Let's say you don't want to go through 155 pages of continuous pages, but you want to go to that document, and you can go specifically to that document. You can play around with it, see how it works for you, but does that look like something that would be helpful? Okay.
Is this something that's gonna be implemented?
Oh, yeah. It's just
Are you guys gonna put back the old agendas for CAC and the superintendent back onto the website by chance?
No, on the bottom it says if you need it, you can contact me and I can send it to you.
Like archived, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I had to research something and I had to actually pull out the paper format. And it's much easier just going into Yacht, finding it, when the school district is right here, you know.
So in the future,
Yeah.
if you needed it, you can contact us and we just shoot you the portfolio as an attachment. And And Karen, that's what we'll do in advance too, is send the portfolio out to the packet, right?
Yes. Okay, this is tough for an old lady. After washing 3 dogs this weekend. Good work. Having your chair back. Okay, so we're on to C now. CAC chairperson report. And that, I believe, is C1. And since Martina's not here, maybe you can just read it out. Or maybe read it out. This is C1, chairperson's goals/objectives. The CAC members will increase the participation of the team of parents and educators in CAC business meetings and presentations. So we measured by 50% by the end of the school year. The second one is the CAC members will present educational specialists recognition certificates throughout the year for their dedication and support of students with special needs. This will be measured by at least 6 recognition certificates per district through the school year 2012-2013.
So this is over, clarification, so this is over and above what parents are doing at the art and writing contest, where they're recognizing teachers.
These are the goals she submitted to me, so maybe you want to table them and if there are any questions next time, that'll be under member.
Table, I think it is.
I mean, if you guys
Couple
have
of questions too,
Right.
that I'd like to ask Martina.
Can we put what the questions are on the?
Sure. Good idea.
So,
Chairperson's goals.
and then just put down what the people's questions are. And this way next meeting will go faster, so we already know what the questions are.
And in 2 months, we won't lose sight of what the specific questions are.
What are your questions, Edith?
Actually, for me, it's more clarification. I don't quite understand that part where it says measure by 50, the first one, okay? Where it says,
Maybe just put how we've got.
yeah, if she can explain to me by the measurement
How
process.
measured or something.
Yeah, and then the second one also, if she can be more explain to me, the mention of the 6 recognition certificates. I want to understand that better.
And the question I had when I read it was, do we really want to limit it to educational specialists? If there was a speech therapist or a psychologist, or even a general education teacher that's doing inclusion, you might want to expand that.
And then my question is just whether it was just over and above what the parents do. This is something she would like for us to recognize, so get clarification on what exactly, the reason for this particular goal.
She's saying, is it over and
Over and above
art
what
and
the
writing?
parents are doing on that,
On that
art and
right,
writing
right,
contest
art and writing.
attachment,
Right.
where
So in the
educators are,
Both educators and parents.
and support folks are recognized at that ceremony as well.
You recognize at another ceremony too, it's not just the art and writing contest, what's the other one?
Oh, yeah, there's another one.
Celebration, yeah. It combines, it's the program specialist, regional service department does it along with the transition department. We bring in employers and then students that excel and teachers and staff.
Thank you.
Public comment.
Okay, we have one public comment.
Oh,
We have one good one and you can read
well,
out.
wait, no.
Oh, you have
I
one.
have one. Oh,
Since Kum had to step in, I asked him for courtesy, he would kind of guide this process.
want me to go ahead and read it, or you want to go ahead?
I guess you can call
Just
Kristen.
call.
Okay.
Christy? Okay. I wanted to first say that I really like the system that you've brought forward as far as the parking lot, and it's much more organized, and I really like giving jobs to CAC members, goals that need to be done. It's much more organized and coherent, and I really appreciate that, so I wanted to commend you on that. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is a couple of upcoming events that are going on. The first one is there's a meeting on insurance. It's an Educate Advocate meeting here in Rancho Cucamonga on Friday night at 7:30. And if you go to the educateadvocateca.com website, don't forget the CA, Sharon, you'll find out some more information on the actual topic and what's going to be discussed. But basically the gist is utilizing your medical insurance to get some therapies that are needed for children or adults. There's no age limit. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is on Saturday, IEHP is having a huge Disability Resources Expo at the Ontario Convention Center. And I have a flyer, I can pass that around to you guys. There'll be prizes and things like that. Also, on October 6th, the ARC of Riverside is having a walk and roll resource fair. And they're encouraging people to come out. They do a play club at the park. It involves inclusion. All families are welcome. It's at Fairmont Park in Riverside. They do it once a month, and they're also planning a summer camp this year, which will include neurotypical peers along with children with special needs. And it's not just a designated special need; it's all special needs. And then lastly, I wanted to bring to you guys, and I brought multiple flyers for this one. Educate Advocate is having a town hall for school board members running in the west end part of San Bernardino County, and you guys are welcome to come. It's open to the public, and we have several agencies sponsoring it, and I'll pass around flyers, and you're welcome to come and invite anybody in your district. Thank you.
One more, Dora Martinez.
Hello. Well, I know that Dora Martinez, and I have a child in safety and 2 in illnesses. And I would like to echo what Christy said about your system. It does seem much more organized, and the energy is just different. So kudos to you guys. And I also wanted clarification. And last year, I know it was a big thing, the transition of mental health, and the hiring of new clinicians to go ahead and take care of a lot of our AD 27, 26, or 26.
And now it's going to replace maybe 1 more before.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, at the time that these referrals were being kind of denied because of the other position, and then WESELPA was, I guess, filtering them to see what was the urgency of providing counseling. And back then when I asked the director, I'm sorry I haven't attended meetings in the past, I don't know if there's been any new change. I asked for clarification if they were gonna, the reason was given to me by the director was that they were low staffed because they didn't have enough clinicians so that's why they were filtering the referrals they were receiving from the districts for counseling. Does that make sense?
It shouldn't make sense, but okay, go ahead.
I think you're confusing the West End family counseling. Those were filtered when we had certain criteria, and we filtered them out to where the clinicians here at the WESELPA were not servicing them. Is that what
I
you're...
think what we need to do, I would invite you, just like I did Peter last time, come to my office and let's talk about it. I'd really like to explore this in depth.
Okay.
And then if you share back next month or November, but just the brief version of it, we have increased
Miss my thing, right?
Yes. You know, let's just put it this way. I included the bylaws, but it wouldn't be an appropriate use of our time to go over them. But we have some new members, and I did want to make sure that you each have a copy. And I think throughout the year, maybe we can take chunks of it and take a look at.
And I'm just looking at all your bylaws, they're only electronically sent, because each and every booklet has bylaws that you have for.
And I can make a copy, but they're in the portfolio. Well, oh, so Russell's going to stop us when there's, he'll stop and let us know that.
Oh, it's okay. So can you guys speak now or later?
Later.
Later, okay. Guidelines for inspection of public and private agency.
Oh, it was an item that Martina was going to speak to. If you recall, we're bringing lots of things back that were either unfinished business last month or we said we would bring forward this month. And one of those was, I had asked actually, because I knew it was old business, if we could talk about the representative. And I know there's a whole history last April 17th, you guys went through the process. We need to get this resolved forward in the process. So, do you want to talk
I
about
would,
it?
if you wouldn't mind, just a bit about it, until you don't want to talk about it. Go ahead.
Just a point of information, shouldn't we have a motion and then discuss the item?
Probably so, yeah. Okay. We have
I
a
would-
motion to.
Yeah, I'd like to move to approve the procedures for appointing a public-private agency as a member of this committee as presented by Sharon in April 2012. She can go over that in detail as we discuss it. And implementing the procedure through the appropriate committee working with the WESELPA director.
And did you have a public comment part of it?
I think, I don't think it's on this one, is it?
Sharon seconded.
No, okay.
Now, you shouldn't do this.
Is it-
Right, Sharon seconded, now we can just.
Yeah, you
For
want.
the newest members, and if you don't know that, I'm kind of new to this issue as well. So when I came to read this history, this was kind of a point of irritation that someone wanted to be approved, but the board felt there really wasn't a procedure for doing it. And I sat through many meetings, there were a lot of argument about how this was going to get done. So I simply said, why don't we just make a timeline? There you go, let's do it like this, it can be pretty simple. It got approved on that meeting. And then we had a little subcommittee that met, and the subcommittee went through 3 things that we would now, the subcommittee, I'm not speaking by myself, right? The subcommittee would like to present to the board. The 3 things we talked about were agencies to be considered to join us.
And they're outlined in 4.2.3.
Very nice. And also in E1, we just made a list, and this was done with the public, and it was done with the little committee that met, that all of these places would be given a letter to come and join us if you'd like. Okay, and that they would be instructed to send a letter back. The other thing that we came up with was a letter that would be sent to them. You'll see this, I guess, second page of E1. It says, it starts with Dear Prospective CAC Board Member. It kind of just outlines what we do, and it invites someone to come on, and it invites them also to let us know they're interested. The last thing the little subcommittee talked about, if you turn the page, would be interview questions. What would we ask people? We want to know about them. And then with that, we would, the executive committee who does the interview would then give a recommendation to have that person be put on. So these 3 things are really what the little subcommittee did to try to get someone on an outside public agency to join us.
Which is part of our bylaws.
Which is part of our bylaws. And so these things are just, this is what I'm bringing to the board, this is what the subcommittee talked about, with the public's input. So actually, in this letter, if you'll read the very last paragraph, it says, to be considered for this position, please submit a letter of interest to the executive committee with the address. And I asked them, I did by October 9th, and the reason I thought by October 9th, if we did approve this and we got the letters out by the end of this week, very beginning of next week, to the agencies, if we agreed on this, that would give them a few weeks to give it to the people they want to represent them. They can write a letter, get it back to us, and we happen to have that presentation that night. So while we're around, we can say, oh, we did get these many, we can hand the letters to Martina maybe that night, and then she, as part of the executive committee, can help us do it. So I actually have a reason for making it October 9th.
Sounds like a very fair process.
We have two public comments.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about the history of all that. I'm not going to get into the history of, I'm just going to simply say that there was a lot of suppression of getting an actual agency member. Bylaws were rewritten in between trying to get some people on. So, of course, there was a lot of, built up feelings. We're going back to, I think, 2009. Some of that predates many of you, okay?
Before me.
Yeah, so you can, it was an issue strong. The only thing I wanted to say was under the one for Hope to change it instead of Hope School to Hope PTA. That was it. Thank you.
God bless you.
I just have a question. That Hope, is it Hope PTA, so it would be just a PTA, or would it be also a school?
No, it's just Hope PTA.
It's just a PTA?
It's a PTA.
Okay, so it's not the school. It's not Hope School? It's
Well,
just a PTA?
the PTA of Hope is able to recruit people in the community. It is not limited to people at the actual school.
Okay.
Right.
We have one more.
And then
One more.
We have one more
Okay.
public comment.
Yeah, on the, again, another, I don't know if this is a typo, but, and then Empire Latino Coalition, it's not a company. So, yeah, I wish we were.
maybe the month.
We're a coalition. And also, you mentioned about a timeline, and it just, just for clarification, they're going to submit the paperwork, and by October 9th, you're going to make a decision of who's
No,
going
they would just, we would get the letters to them and they'd get a letter back, just a letter of interest. I might be interested by October 9th.
by October.
Yeah, and then we would, what my hope would be is that we would have who is interested and that we would spend the next couple weeks interviewing them, and then by our next board meeting, we would be able to bring a recommendation. The executive committee can bring a recommendation if you guys support.
And in the motion, the motion included approval of the procedure that we have now and also implementation, which is what you're talking about. That we go ahead and get it implemented.
All in favor? Roll call.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Discussion. That's Dave.
Martina, we're going to take that. I don't know if you have a chance. But you want to have a motion first, and then we can have a discussion?
Have a motion to look at, to discuss the state, 2013 State South Florida Legislation Day. And
No.
to read the whole thing.
And possibly to select parents to, the process.
Yeah, with an intention of selecting
Yes.
parents to try and
So moved.
Second.
I second.
All right, go for the discussion. All in favor? Any discussion?
We are sending people, correct?
That we're
Discussing.
discussing that,
Okay.
that's what we're gonna ask the superintendents to approve.
Okay.
So.
So
I'll
you're
take
taking
to
it
program
as-
administrators,
okay.
I'll take it to fiscal for the fiscal impacts, there is one, and then take it to superintendents. It's been my experience in the last two SELPAs where I've been SELPA director that it's a very powerful day. The day is very well organized in the morning, that SELPAs bring parents from across the state, and we recognize certain legislators who have really supported special education issues across the state. And then we have some parents that get to talk about some models of CACs that have done some pretty fabulous things across the state. They have a breakfast, they have a lunch, you have a chance to, network a little bit. But the day is pretty packed. Then the legislative committee from the state, SELPA, has already targeted specific legislation that's pending that each SELPA has made appointments with their local legislators, and we go in and we talk to them about those specific key pieces of legislation, as well as some things that are impacting us back home. We let them know kind of what's it like in education these days, not that they don't already know, but we just want to remind them, and then people go home. And I stay for state SELPA meetings, so, but it's just been a really awesome experience.
When is the date?
It's usually the first Wednesday in May. So at a later date, we would work with the legislative committee to determine who are the two people that we would recommend flying for the day to the superintendents.
It's the day of the art and writing.
Oh my, every
For
time.
discussion also, I think we should also ask, is there anybody on the board that's willing to pay their own way so it's not a financial burden?
Okay.
Because we've done that in the past where board members have paid their own way.
Okay. Well, I think first of all, we want to get the support of the superintendents to even move in that direction, and we can take up those other details later. We have time anyway, so.
Can you say the date? Do you remember the date? So that
It was May 4th last year, so that's why
It
we
might
put
be
it
May
there.
First
1st, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
the
don't
first
know that
is
they've
the
even
first
let us know
Wednesday,
yet.
but
So, but if they follow the same trend, it'll be the first Wednesday in May. And then we would expect whomever to come back and share with us. I had given Russell in a folder, what I did, I should tell you too, I'm sorry if I'm out of turn, but I gave each of the chairs of the committees some sample documents that either Martina gave me, some really good, like parent handbooks or whatever, and I gave Russell some newsletters from my previous SELPA that demonstrate how we shared back out to our community what had happened on Ledge Day. So I think there's a lot of opportunities then to come back and really share that it made a difference that we were.
Is there some discussion presentations to the parents that go up?
Yes.
Why this?
So they're
It's very similar, it sounds like.
I
to-
would work with them, about how we kind of go about our meeting. Karen and I would work on the schedule with the legislators to make sure we have appointments to meet. Sometimes we go with other people from our local area. And so then we would prep them on what the visit's going to look like, how we want, because you're lucky if they give you 15 minutes. Sometimes you meet with their staff or out in the hall, So we would just want to carefully craft exactly the targeted message that we want to give to them.
Well, I kind of wonder about something here. I hear about this crafting of a targeted message, and who does the crafting? Because there's what SPED kids need, and there's what SELPA's need and want, and they're not the same thing.
But it's a legislative information sharing day.
Right.
So the SELPA Administrators Group and the Coalition for Adequate Funding have certain legislation that's pending that they're supporting. And like in this whole mental health issue, there has been very specific legislation we wanted to bring to their attention that funding needed to come to schools if we were going to bear that responsibility, as an example. So we prioritize where do we really need to ask them to take a look at some legislation. This year, the high school exit exam, that kind of was in flux. Was that going to continue as, you know, an option, the exemption for our students? So that was another piece. We talked to them about changing the terminology of MR to ID to match, but it already happened federally. So it's just, you know, whatever seems to be the key legislation that we want to make sure they resolve in this session that's in the best interest of students.
Well,
And then we always remind them to please remember the funding for special ed and that sort of thing too.
So did we have that motion?
We have the motion in the second.
Okay.
Thank you. So we take the vote.
Yeah, we took the vote.
And we had a motion and a second, so now.
Oh, okay, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
It's a good thing
Any
we
opposed?
monitor each other.
Wait, I'm sorry, clarifying, that we're voting on that you talk to the superintendent to see what the fiscal impact is that we would.
No, this group is recommending that we will determine 2 people to take to legislative day to
And
participate.
the 2 people and all that we'll discuss after we have an okay from the.
Because the legislative committee, I think, would bring forward some recommendations.
Discussion items.
All in favor, opposed?
Was it all in favor?
Okay, back to the vote. I'm sorry, I interrupted your vote. Please continue to your vote.
Take your vote.
And any opposed? Okay, so we pass the motion. E2. Okay, now we move on to discussion items. Martina is going to do this bylaw revision, first reading.
And you have in your packet the actual language. On F1, you have the actual strikeouts in addition.
So this is just a discussion.
Is this something that Martina wanted rewritten like this? Or should we, take this off the agenda until she can be here?
It's a first reading, and last month, everybody actually raised their hand at one
Okay.
point and voted.
Because I
for it,
wasn't
and
here, that's
Peter
why I'm
reminded
asking.
us it
Okay.
was not on the agenda, so it's
Okay.
old business from last time. So we need to revisit old business. Christy, going back to your comments, I would like to say from my perspective, what has made the difference is I have reached out to Martina on multiple occasions to sit down and kind of craft the agenda, craft the flow of the meeting, craft the parking lot and all of that. And I think if we're all going to work together, if it takes putting it verbatim in the bylaws, and if that's what's standing in the way of us being able to continue to do that, then I think I want to keep us going in the direction we're going, but I think we need that language to specifically state that.
Did this take care of your public comment?
No, I have a comment on this.
Okay.
Oh,
And then there's no page numbers in the bylaws. I mean,
We saw that.
I think that would be helpful.
So this is just a first reading, so we just.
It's a first reading, we don't even have, we don't take any action or bring it back.
Do you want to have a parking lot to bring it back?
No, it automatically will come back for a second reading.
Yeah.
It'll also be going to the other committees next week for the first reading.
Can we put something in the parking lot regarding the bylaws? It's regarding, rewriting them, that there's more than one CAC member per district. Because we only have one member now, and it used to be 2 or more. This way we have more people on the CAC that can help us.
And I think I said earlier, I think we need to really deeply take a look at the whole bylaws, maybe section by section, prioritize what first. But if you want to put
Yeah.
review of bylaws, that's certainly fine.
The membership part.
So on this first reading, we don't need a motion?
Motion.
No, but I thought we have a public comment.
Yes, we do. Yes.
I can speak?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
waiting for the chair. Okay,
I
so,
wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to coordinate.
Well, I was going to.
Okay. I don't necessarily have an issue with the bylaw. It's just more a matter of the procedure according to the current bylaws, which is that we have a local plan and legislative standing committee, which Russell is is going to be, I think, appointed tonight the convener of. And just for some historical background, the standing committee for the local plan met in, I think, April of this year of 2012, came up with a list of some bylaw changes. It was on the last agenda of the school year in May of 2012, and I believe it was motioned to table. So there's a list of, I think, 7 or maybe more. I don't know. I couldn't get the agenda. I emailed Karen for it a little late today, so I don't remember exactly how many, but there was already a list from the May agenda of tabled items for CAC bylaw changes. And I just think the appropriate way to handle this one is for, Russell's group to meet, for them to also look at the other ones we already went through in April. Those ones need to come back. They were tabled in May. Just in May, they need to come back.
Sharon, you want to put table bylaw items from May 2012 in the document?
You just stand over.
We'll check into that, guys.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you very much.
CAC standing committees. Let's see. I want you to know what's going to, you're just going to look at the list.
You guys all volunteered to participate on this committee, and then you met with me in my office, gave me this document.
So she decided the chairs.
She said she had made some changes, but I didn't find any changes except for who should be this chair. Who should be this review. And then the 12-13 projects were just what I had thought from previous experiences I've had, that some projects you all might want to consider as you're scheduling meetings, and then could write some goals around those. I think if we could accomplish all that by the end of the year, we have a lot of good products to share with the public.
So everybody, whatever information on these 2 sheets, you have a chance to look at it.
I have 3 sheets. Why do you only have 2?
I don't have 2, I don't have, Russ's.
There's 2.
Oh, okay, you're not counting this one then?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
That is some information.
Oh, it is kind
So
of.
that is,
It is a sample of the
that's a
goals.
sample of how the committees can write out their goals when they actually get a chance to meet and convene.
Can we name somebody for the local plan, the chairperson?
it's on the previous
I think it's
page.
Yeah, I missed it myself.
Yeah. That's
Our
your
page
sample.
break, our page break. We'll fix the page break. Alrighty.
Okay. Approval of standing committee meeting dates.
As far as I can tell, this is going to be a challenge because we're pretty constrained by where and the choice that this is made to make those standing committees. If you were looking at this, you could convene a meeting, come up with what it was you want to bring back to the group. But you need to post an agenda. You need to do it well in advance. Your materials so that I can go in advance. So you need, I would think, a master list of dates so that if people want to attend the meeting. So chairs, you're going to have to decide how you're going to structure the meeting as far as I can tell. Karen, and get back to you. So it would be date, time, and location. And at least we could have a master list, and then from that we know how far in advance we're going to get that.
committee's
like
hard
in
for
Russell's
me.
example, for example, you're going to need to call your committee members, email them or whatever, and say, I have this, that, and the other date to look for you, and then that's
Like for myself, a lot of them are in Thursday, so not mornings, my neighbors will do this. Yeah, you know, sometimes.
Monday and Thursdays are my business.
So you're all gonna have to work it out, and you're probably gonna have to be a little flexible and say, this time, so-and-so might not be able to make it, but we certainly will get back to them. It's gonna be hard enough to, but I know you're gonna do great work.
I have a question that makes it seem kind of silly, but what would it take for it to be forward as opposed to standing and bylaw change?
No, just take a look, see the reason why it's bylaws.
That would allow a little more flexibility.
There shall be 3 types of committees: standing committees, ad hoc committees, and an executive committee. And so, ad hoc committees have a task. They meet, they bring their work and their recommendations back to the board. Standing committees are under the Brown Act. The subcommittees and have to agendas. Martina has determined that she wanted these 2 subcommittees. I chatted with her about what that was, and she determined she thought that would provide me transparency, which is certainly what we're trying to do. We have to tell the truth is, we were so constrained and we have such limited schedules, and bless your heart, you all volunteer for like about 3 committees, you know? And so I've been trying to figure out how to all do it. And I want to do whatever I can to help you to accomplish what you want to do.
Because the type of my life, I know myself, I'm in 2 committees, plus the CEC, and we have our own districts, meetings, and.
I would suggest you might consider attaching your committee meetings to CAC meetings. You're driving here one time and one committee meeting before and one after, or if it's totally separate members, you could have extra rooms here and one committee could be meeting to work on something and another one on something else. Right, so it would have to be prior to the meeting, or if you're on 2 committees, maybe if we back to back in the CAC, that's a huge time commitment too, but.
But also, I think why they're, committees and not ad hoc is also, remember under the Brown Act, if you meet so many times, it's no longer an ad hoc because you're meeting multiple times. And I can honestly tell you, the one that I'm in charge of, the art and writing contest, there is no way I can have one meeting and accomplish it. There's just no way.
But would you see me challenged to having to get your agenda ready and time to have your journals every time and getting it posted and all of that? You're on every committee, Martina, you're not there every committee.
Yeah, I don't think there was a problem for the art and writing that I'm in charge of, no. But can I make all these meetings? It would all depend when they're at, but I can try and make them. That's why I was asking, you know, the last time we kind of took a survey, I think there was only one person that would prefer, I think it was the afternoon and everybody else in the nights. And I think you,
Okay, I was gonna say,
I think
I
you
would
needed
prefer.
like 4 o'clock or something. Somebody would prefer to start at 4, not 5 or something like that. But it was mostly, you know, after, 3 o'clock.
Well, again, I think what you're gonna have to do is each chair is gonna have to reach out to their committee and see what you're going to say.
I have a question on that though. For example, the review of the local plan, aren't those dates, and that has to be done, set kind of by the state? And so, I mean,
No, locally you can decide, like if one area really needs to be reviewed by the local meeting, you can decide when to do that. Probably the local plan review, that's gonna look like more likely than not, is there'll be a meeting called of some special ed directors, some
I'm always there to Martinez. So you can always just next time around. Just my last question, so we are going to say if you want to send an email today or tomorrow to our group, we can start as soon as possible?
Yeah, just start figuring out what to do. Okay.
What you can't do is talk about the issues in the email. You can say, we come to a meeting, what your schedule is like, and then talk about your specific issues.
Or how you want.
Or how you want to do it. But these subcommittees, you don't have any power other than to do work. It's not like you have power to make decisions. You don't have the power to vote for anything. So my preference would be to make them ad hoc meetings where we could spur the moment, come and do this work. And this is what we need to do so we can give it to the board. Because it seems like a big production to do it the other way. Not that I'm hiding anything, but this is where that whole trust element comes in. But if we're going to be working for the CAC so we can all work together, then why not let the committees work and bring it to the big group and say, here's what we came up with. If you don't like it, just say, that doesn't work. Go to your
Here's
next.
what I suggest. Put it on for an item for your November meeting. Because it's not something you can vote on tonight.
No, I'm just, I
It's
know,
on the agenda.
but I'm just
But
saying.
that's
my-
why
No, but I would like to underline that too. Again, no action, if I understand it correctly, will be taken unless it's approved by this committee. And to try to, work on this amount of time, posting it and all that. When you're talking about a working committee that's trying to bring something back to the group, then it can be discussed by everybody or anybody. I just think it makes sense. I've never heard of, I was in the Alhambra district 35 years and worked it all the way up to associate superintendent. I've never heard of a working group like this in any way having to go through that. Now, if you can only have so many meetings, we certainly want to be legal, so we need to know that. But other than that, I don't understand it. I really don't.
So let's bring it back in November.
Yes.
In the meantime, if you have a meeting, and then try to bring some research and data at that point and take action. So it's like that. So, that following items are tabled, so that's why they're all brought back. And remember, we ran out of time.
District courts, and I know we've done them in the past. Various ways. So you want to do it. I think it's a good idea to have the district, mostly the directors, come and write on the state of the district report kind of thing. Happened in the past, we've had various revisions of the plan. I'm not sure exactly what we're talking about. Do we have something in mind?
This would mean also any of you that are bringing forward what your district's doing that you feel is
I actually have,
essential and.
yeah.
You can speak with your director, develop a written report, and
For instance, I do have something, and that's what I thought we were actually doing, is reporting what our school district is doing. Our school district brought back some of the emotionally disturbed county children. We have started a middle school classroom. There's a total of 5 kids. There might be a 6th kid now, and what they're doing is it's a very intense program, and they're trying to implement it and get it stronger and stronger. And we're hoping that the ability work group will come into for the middle school. I don't know if the WESELPA still does that, but the principal has asked, Mr. Sullivan has asked if I would make contact and find out if you still have the ability program for the middle school. I know you guys still have it for the high school.
curriculum is online. We did it in our school in Chino Valley.
But I don't hear about it any much, and I know a lot of school districts weren't doing it. So I don't know if the WESELPA still offers it, but I said I would ask, but that's something like we're implementing right now.
So you modeled what a report might look like, and it could be as simple as each of you meeting with your director, even developing a written paragraph so it's got their approval. You could read it out or kind of share
But
it out.
I suggest you actually physically go. That's what I did. And then we.
And meet with the director.
No, I actually went to the programs.
Oh.
And they told me what they were implementing, and I made suggestions, which they took, because I was kind of shocked that there was certain training not done yet that I thought, was important, and told them why. And then they thought about it, and yes, so they implemented it right away, which was great, because it just enhanced the program even more. And then I visited the preschool autism program during the summer school, and then also during open house, and saw the kindergarten classrooms that they have. And the program's pretty nice. They have a lot of one-on-one staff, and there's a lot of implementation of sensory integration. And the next step that I would like to see is where there's more inclusion, because there's no inclusion right now, because it's a new program on that campus. And then parents have asked, what's the next step for when the kids are out of second grade? Where do they go? So we're hoping to enhance it more, that, it's only going up to second grade, but let's see if we can do it to third, fourth, because the parents are asking for that. They don't want their kids shoveled around.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
I know when you get a lot of
So
information.
next time we will talk about whether or not you want to implement this, and then if everybody agrees.
But at least some version of it, because, did you go as a board member role, or did you go as a CAC? Because, it might take us, the CAC, to really get into the classes a little longer.
Basically, when I go to school districts, they know I'm there to look at a program, and I've really never had a problem until today. I did try to see a school today, and there was a problem, which I was kind of shocked. Normally, it's open doors, they show me everything, and it's great, because then I know where parents and educators can get more resources. Like, I've seen a program before where the teacher's great, but I saw another teacher implementing the same kind of environment, but she had really great ideas, because she had 20 years of experience. This person only had about 2 or 3 years. So, connecting them together and having this individual visit that classroom, it helps. That's why, but I've never really had a problem. I've always said, I'm a parent, and I'm in special education, and I help other parents and teachers.
So I think that if we are going to be doing that, it would be a great thing, of course, to connect with our directors, because our directors will give us, and also, we should have the ability to have access to all those different programs. And as CAC representatives, I'm thinking that's pretty powerful. And then that's a reason to bring also information, right? And have our director also, if there's any doors that kind of don't open up as well, that those doors can be easier to open, to have access to view
If
programs.
we're talking about bringing another part to our meeting where we give an update of our districts, I would just like to say, fine, if you want to do that, where we read a paragraph, but maybe we would consider having like you said, state of the district program where the people can come and just give a little blurb, maybe once a year or twice a year, like the state of the city, the mayor does, just give us something.
That's what we
So
had
maybe we
before.
think about-
Once a year, it was usually, wasn't it in
Is it
February,
business?
March?
Yeah.
Where it was done only once a year.
By all the districts?
It was great.
But all the
That's
I think
how we
every
learned
meeting
about
we
the
had-
Pioneer
yeah.
program that was implemented.
Well, you could either have a district you highlight at each meeting, or two,
Then we tried, we did that too.
or you could do it once a year. But if you want to deal with other business during the meeting, I would suggest you might consider highlighting 1 or 2 districts. And then you could work directly with your director to have a short presentation about the district.
And then have a set time, right? Just a set
Right,
time.
exactly. So, think about it. You can't take a vote tonight and come back to it.
So this will come back in November?
Okay.
Okay.
F5 is promoting community involvement.
lot of this work actually, as you look at 5, 6, 7, I think it's pretty much work you could delegate to various committees. And I think I kind of outlined it in what I gave you earlier. So perhaps you could ask if people want to, with their committees, bring back ideas, or do you really want to have a discussion?
Right. My feeling too is that it's, maybe we can take it to the committees, especially if, we have dates for the committees in the near future, and we have the occasion and the ability to discuss them in these committees. I think one of the reasons they've been sitting on our agendas for a long time is because we never get to them. And they've been sitting on our committee, on our agendas for many months, many years now, at least over a year. So I think it's a great idea that once we get these standing committees moving, to take some of these, because they certainly fit into some of the different standing committees, especially the handbook and the resource guide. So maybe we should actually decide that.
Can't we just assign them to a committee, the appropriate committee now? Let the committee work on it?
Work on them.
Yeah, 6 and 7 actually fit under the,
Public
yeah, the public, community education committee.
Parent education committee?
No, I mean,
About that
it's people, well, we got,
Multiple ones too?
well, parent handbook was, I mean, specifically, if I go back and look at the standing committees and what was shown as the projects, for example, parent handbook is under the public information and membership committee, and I would assume that promoting community involvement kind of would touch upon both the public information as well as the parent and community.
I almost wish we had just like 3 committees, one for 5, one for 6, one for 7, to just work on it and get going. But
I think we still can. If the committees, standing committees start meeting, and if we maybe fill out one of these, the M2, the sample goal sheet, and once we get them on there, I think we have sort of identified a lot of the process, and once we've identified that process, I think it would be really easy to move forward.
There is an old parent handbook that used to be here, and then there's also a resource guide, but it's under the transition department, puts that out, and it's more phone numbers and who to call for different situations. So you already have a starting point, some information in there, you can,
And
you don't need to reinvent that wheel.
In one of your packets, I also gave you a copy from the previous county, and I have it in Word, so all you'd have to do is modify it to include the address and phone number and contact person for our.
And I think it would be great to see if we can make the finished product doable in small chunks and have finished products, at regular intervals. I think it makes for successful, we feel, okay, there's a couple of things that we actual deliverables, that we have.
And don't try to do it all this year.
No, right.
And I think the committees can decide. I don't think they have to feel pressure to complete this year. They say, okay, this is a project, this is our plan, this is our timeline, we can't do it all this year. I don't think anybody should feel the pressure, but I'd like to get it off of this and then into something that at least, where it's being worked on, and where a timeline, where it's being thought about.
With the resource guide, we already had suggested, and I thought we also agreed that we would use the resource guides and get permission for like the inland autism. They have a book, the Foothill Power Empowerment. They have an excellent book, and we were supposed to get permission.
We had brought those to
I
a
wasn't
meeting.
there for one meeting. I think, is that the one that somebody had brought sample?
Yes.
That was the
I brought the.
But here again, that's an option for that committee. I mean, if there's something already done, why try to reinvent?
Oh, yeah.
And if it's really good, but it seems to me that's something that the committee could, recommend to this group that we, adopt, permission.
Let the committees do their work.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if we can agree to do that, but should we all, it's a worthwhile suggestion to get it off this agenda. It's been on the agenda for many years.
I'd like to see it back when it's a recommendation, every recommendation.
I say we just pray really hard that we can find the right times for most people to make it. You know, like
I
I know
think you're gonna have to go with most people. I don't
yeah,
think
like I know,
Yeah.
Martina and Mo, they're in all of them, and I know everybody's so busy, and I'm like in 2 or 3, so if we can just like have patience and work with trying to find at least one time to get together, because it's tough. That's gonna be the toughest. Like, so we can have patience for that.
That would, you know.
Future is far. We're back. Oh, future agenda.
Oh, that's been fast on agenda stuff. G, future agenda items.
I think
Does
we've got
anybody
some
have-
up there.
Yeah, this plan in the parking lot. So I think on with G and H,
May I say one thing?
go.
I just wanted to recommend maybe getting a microphone in here. It's really, even when the air starts, it's very difficult. Even with us up close, we still can't hear. So if you guys are able to provide that, that would be helpful.
We'll try to talk longer. Okay.
Could we make that an agenda item, but not just for CAC, even the superintendent meeting? I can't hear. When you guys don't use those mics, it's hard. And like I can hear now because the air conditioning is off. But when it's on, it's very hard unless I can see your guys' lips. It's very hard for me to understand what you guys are saying. And, you know, I've brought this up many, many times and doesn't, you know, but it would help if we could.
So we'll look into the availability. Okay.
So, did you, are we gonna go over the, parking lot?
Yeah,
Or
but are we gonna ask
ask
the
me,
committee?
okay.
Do you have any feedback?
Right. Any of the, does anyone have any ideas for future agenda items?
Well, we had one, the future agenda of making the subcommittees ad hoc committees, would that be a future agenda item?
Mm-hmm. And you have it
That's-
right there.
That's right there.
Now, it came up in the parking lot.
Can I say something to that? The
Fill
real
out a
issue,
card, please. No, I'm
Brown Act doesn't require. All right, well, what I wanted to mention, the whole reason that there's been a whole big deal about the standing committees and the ad hoc committees in the first place is the secrecy issue. So you can call them ad hoc committees or standing committees or whatever they are, just so long as they're open to the public, so that, you know, so that things are arrived at in a public fashion, as the Brown Act indicates, and for a good reason. That will increase trust. Of course, most times, few people will be interested in attending these committee meetings. It'll probably hardly ever happen. I'm not going to bother. But if the potential is there, it will engender less strife. So if the committee meetings are able to be attended by the public, that they can know about it and everything else, then there won't be an issue. I don't think. Will there be an issue?
No, but someone like me would, because I'm all about trying to help out. So, especially with the local planning, Russell's group. That's my thing.
So, Peter, even if we wanted to vote to do that, we can't confirm it's not on the agenda, so regardless, we have to go back. But thank you for your comment.
Well, if it's a standing committee, then it has to be open to the public, and if it's an ad hoc committee, then it doesn't, because it is on the agenda, and it is a standing committee, even if you call it an ad hoc committee, if it looks and talks and quacks like a standing committee.
But wouldn't it be nice if we could get to the point where, whether it's Brown Act or not, and we knew there's some expertise among our parents, whether parents that attend or not, that we can say, you know what, we're having this committee meeting, we're evaluating. Wouldn't that be a nice place?
That would be nice. So anyway, since you've been reading that book, you can look at some of the different ways in which trust has been undermined and continues to be, and if those things get addressed, then trust will increase. If they're not addressed, then trust will not increase. One thing that he said, which was very appropriate, is you can't talk your way out of a problem that you behaved your way into. That's a worthwhile saying. It's about worth the price of the book.
did.
I think it was Christie and Mo.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Christie and Mo, I think it was both.
Yeah, Mo too.
Yeah.
Mo did too.
Want to give credit.
Yeah, I do have questions on that one. And I don't know if it's because some IEPs have an extraordinary cost, and that's why the SELPA pays for it, even if it's not a settlement agreement. So,
The next step is we go back and research it, prepare some information, and for it to be on the agenda. The bit certs or certificates? Oh, certificate. Oh, that was, just put SLP in parentheses to provide a good question mark. That'll just tell me, like, I want to do this discussion, following the session.
I was just wondering, I wanted to get clarification, kind of history, as to how is this different than what we were doing?
Well, you think we already do this, and why is she saying she wants to do this?
So I think the appropriate next step is we already have that activity, but you can involve us. So November. Yeah, so the next step is in November.
Thinking she might want to do it as a CAC recognition to those individuals who are supposed to, a SELPA journal.
But we're not going to do.
Okay, I asked her.
and then under discussion for next agenda, could you put EDR, early dispute resolution, to see which school districts are implementing that, and give us an update? No, I know we're doing it.
Sorry,
We're-
which part?
EDR, early dispute resolution could be a discussion item. Yeah.
You want to start off, yeah.
Wait, you're asking.
Yeah, because we were on, if anything should go on the agenda.
The
And
middle.
then go into discussion.
Laura's going to come to
Yes, next step, we would.
Two items.
I love my school. Everything's great over there. I have no disputes. Like where? Oh, I was just involved in that stuff. Yeah. It's like a whole Well, we have a question for you, please.
It says you did. Review the bylaws membership.
Oh, yeah, review the bylaws, the membership, just the membership part, because I've always had a concern regarding that.
Numbers, we're saying the numbers, right?
Reviewing it, you were talking about reviewing the whole thing, that's why I put it up here. She typed in membership especially.
And then you say, the important components, some of the important part of the bylaw, and I think the important part that we really should look at right now is the membership.
So I want to do things thoroughly, not superficially, and I think another thing we need to add to the next meeting is update. And so I don't want to feel rushed because the other thing is that we need to discuss this too.
Did you make it a discussion item on the superintendent's agenda?
Well, we need to talk about it first.
And how they feel about it?
So I would like to know if it would be okay with everybody if we reserve all this bylaw business until January and make that a big focus of the meeting. Is that okay with everybody? So that would be January agenda, because final part of the meeting. And I would hope I could invite.
I was just gonna say, would we do a similar invitation as we doing for the
And I would
October
hope that
presentation?
we could invite, because it's gonna be a dynamic.
I think we should do a flyer.
And it would be an opportunity to invite people to CAC, and oh, by the way, stay around, because we're gonna have a real dynamic training on that type of thing. Escape plan, that's January, for that one.
Yeah, I see this as means don't worry about this.
Oh, okay.
There,
Thank you for the clarification.
there.
Ad hoc versus subcommittee,
That's the
November. You guys want to figure that out? And microphone system. And update from committee chairs. Right, the last one,
Next step, November 18th.
That's those, the times and dates.
Just, just to have an update from the, like Edith will give an update of what her standing committee has been doing, Russ will give an update if they have gotten
Announce
together,
meeting
how
dates,
they've gotten together, announce a meeting day, say we've already posted and have one.
We have a clarification on the bylaws. Are you suggesting
Peter came over and helped.
then that the executive committee
Say it.
have a meeting so that they're prepared to discuss, or we're gonna wait till January?
No, wherever anybody is with their committee work, if they have something to report, that would be their option.
But at this point, if you do happen to get together with your committee, post it 3 days in advance, invite everybody, try to get some of your business done, even if it's just talk about what you're gonna do, it'll all be done that way.
Sorry, I'm looking at the committee, public information and membership committee, and the projects that are listed on there. And one of the things, the first item on there, in order for us to really get a handle of what we want to prioritize, that compiling of parent survey results from last year. Some schools did, some didn't. Do I just want to compile what I have? I'll go out to each school district and have them tell me what they have, and then what I have is what we have, and let's just move forward, and then we'll talk about
What we have for last year, we're moving forward for next year, but I think we still need to look at having a really nice presentation on what the summary was of the results that were received. That was a lot of work for people who want.
I was just going to say, I just finished.
Because now we have added, we have to have meetings for different groups and so on. The chart that we have for the surveys is quite lengthy. And we also ask for help to other parents, like I know Florence Chafee, I would be so happy to input some of that stuff. Can we do that?
Maybe
ask for help.
How about you guys look at what's really good is you have a tremendous amount of data, and maybe you want to, for your next meeting, bring back, you've looked at it, and you think we can give you a real good picture of what's going on, if you tabulate this particular, like, are the parents pleased or not? And what suggestions did the parents give us? Maybe for a first step, make it doable.
Right, because I reviewed all
And we'll always have it if we want to go back to it for something else.
I reviewed all my surveys and I did see 90% of them were very positive and all of the yeses. It's just putting them into that big, huge, long chart, tiny, and it's tiny, so it's a lot to write. But, going over them, I already know the outcome. And I brought my list of requests from parents and presentations that they would like. I already brought that in, so.
So then if you can compile it together and say, in this district, what percentage of the parents were pleased versus those that were not, or whatever, then we can look at trends and we can use the data for something meaningful to see where do we need to have something to deal with it. Because it's not just data for the purpose of collecting data, we really want it to be meaningful.
I just want to make sure that when the surveys are handed to WESELPA or hand it to the CAC. Should be no addresses and no phone numbers or anything like that. You have to keep the parent confidential.
Survey though, it says if you want information, I need
No,
that
no, 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 no.
information to.
That's a big issue and it's a violation and we cannot do that.
And was there a check mark, yes, I would like information, and they've given permission?
But we didn't specify what we were going to do with it.
Okay, well, I would say,
Okay,
this time
because,
around, just let it go. Just don't forward that information to anybody.
well, I have a question, because it does state that if you would like to receive information on upcoming events, and if they gave me their email, I put together an email distribution list that I'm sending, like this attachment to, and,
Can't make it public. We
oh, no,
cannot make it
absolutely
public.
not, but I mean, but I am using that
Okay.
information
Yeah,
because
some
it was
people thought that was
provided.
gonna be public and no, we can't make
No,
that public.
absolutely not. And maybe we could forward things to the district. You might want to give that to the district director, and it could be their option to forward it to that distribution list. That's another option.
Just want to, before finishing the special education, thank you for the flyers.
I have more if anybody wants more.
Okay.
It hasn't gone to our students yet to be counted. That is sometime this week, so hopefully by the end of next week.
When should we should look for it? By the
Look
end of
at
next
the, yeah, in the districts.
week?
I want to say something.
Sounds like a good idea. Thank you, Susan, for putting it together.
Edith, you're Chafee, right? Can you ask the school district to put it on School Loop?
Sure.
And I'll ask my school district, I think we have 2 schools on School Loop.
Okay.
I didn't know you could post that.
Yeah. Do you want a little?
Because
can you give
somebody
an
wants to
idea?
talk here.
Yes.
In my school, we don't have a copy of that at all. I happen to have
Of what?
one of this, of the committee, the special education.
It hasn't gone out yet. Yeah, it hasn't gone
Oh,
out yet.
okay.
Yeah, we have to look
That
at
was
it
the one I was
first.
gonna say, I was gonna give you an advance
Yeah.
copy, but
Look
it was in my car and I was leaving.
Also, because I haven't had a copy, somebody emailed it to me, I did mention it to one of our parents, and she asked if there was gonna be any babysitting. And,
Recess or was
um, and then I was told that there wasn't gonna be any in the English-speaking one, but in the Spanish one, isn't there gonna be a Spanish one in
Maybe
Ontario?
that's something else.
It might be the, are you talking about tomorrow's maybe, or is it?
No, isn't there gonna be another one also in Ontario? Yeah. Okay, then I know what I'm talking about. I
I think it's a different,
Well, anyway, but
presentation.
the parent did ask me if you guys were gonna have babysitting, and this is a parent that is a single mom, has 5 kids, and she would love to come because she does have a few kids that are special needs and might need some help. So I don't know, that's something out there that maybe you guys might want to consider in the future for single moms, you know, or single parent, or single dads.
We have to carry $1 million of insurance. Do we carry $1 million of insurance in child care providers? I have to know what's different.
So I think to handle this, we're handling everything else. The babysitting.
Just put it up there and say, Mo will ask
We're not gonna
OMSD.
answer the question
We
tonight.
provide it, maybe I can get OMSD to provide it. I'm not saying that they will, but maybe I can ask. And like, sure, maybe it's gonna be an insurance problem and they won't do it. But I know they have provided it for other locations
So you
other
can
than
work that out with our
OMSD.
public person, well, maybe you two can communicate and exchange information. I'd just like to give you a little hint of where we're going with this training. We
Liz
kind of
Ritchie?
put some of, all that
Liz Ritchie?
terminology that goes with special ed that's ever so confusing on there, just to give you, a taste of, we know how overwhelming it is, especially for new parents dealing with it all. And so you're gonna walk away with some resources, some things that parents could actually put in a binder and take to IEP meetings as resources. One of the things that I'm working on is that I've found very effective in the past. I have to redo it because we use different forms here, but actually you'll get like a set of the IEP forms, and instead of it being filled out like a sample IEP, I've taken the language right out of our IEP manual and put it on the pages. So, and then there's the whole piece about ed benefit that's in our manual. So, a tool that people could walk away with and say, now, what were they supposed to do, and why do we craft the IEP the way that we do? So that's one piece of what we're going to do.
I would make the motion to adjourn the meeting.